The cannabis plant has been on this planet for millions of years. Ancient civilizations from Greece to China and from Egypt to India relied on it as a basic medicine. Yes, from the Han Dynasty to Herodotus, cannabis was the preferred remedy for everything from fevers and pain relief to hemorrhoids.
Spread your fingers wide apart like I did.
Arnon Davinsky is a super doctor.
Look over here.
He's the director of the NYU Langone Comprehensive Epilepsy Center, and he is a widely published researcher who also teaches neurology, neurosurgery, and psychiatry. And he knows a thing or two about cannabis.
I love the history of neurology, and very well-known English neurologists back in the late 1880s were prescribing cannabis, Indian hemp, to treat epilepsy, with some very remarkably positive anecdotal stories of patients who went on it, became seizure-free.
Word of CBD's reputation as a healing agent has spread to modern America, where health food fans and hipsters are gobbling up CBD oil, sold as hemp, the psychoactively benign cousin of cannabis. Armed with piles of anecdotal evidence and motivated by stories of people like the Smiths, Davinsky decided it was time to run CBD oil through the scientific gauntlet. But remember, the Drug Enforcement Administration insists even non-psychoactive CBD is still a Schedule I drug. So
I had to buy massive safes to store the drug in. We had to get engineers to make sure the floor in a relatively new building could sustain the weight of the safe. They're making the studies much more time-consuming. Took 6 months to get the approvals of full-time people, many regulatory hoops to jump through.
But jump Davinsky did. He launched a big study on a drug called Epidiolex, funded by its maker, GW Pharmaceuticals.
So this was the first large, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial of a cannabis product, cannabidiol, CBD, to treat a very specific group of children with Dravet syndrome, a severe epilepsy.
Good job.
When news of the Epidiolex study first began to spread through the epilepsy community, few were more interested than Teresa Elder, another of the Virginia mothers who'd lobbied in Richmond. Teresa's 25-year-old son, Tommy, has been ravaged by seizures since he was a toddler.
I mean, for years, we were the only family in the hospital that we knew that had a kid that was with uncontrollable seizures. Many times they had to sedate him so bad or so much, and then he would end up on life support. That one, good one.
But Teresa felt trapped in the gray area between state and federal law, and breaking federal law was a risk she was not willing to take.
You're breaking federal law to cross the state lines to get it into Virginia.
Really?
Yes, because I could go to D.C. and get some right now. But as soon as I cross into Virginia, I've broken a federal law.
And Teresa is an employee of the federal government, so getting Tommy in the Epidiolex trial was her best shot.
And I believe it was the first time I ever prayed that he would have a really bad brainwave, just because he had to get in this study. He had to. You're a funny man, Thomas.
Which, it turns out, he did.
Your prayers were answered.
Oh, yeah.
Tommy was accepted into the trial, and the results?
Describe the changes.
In a 2-year period, he was on life support 17 times. In these last 2 years, he's been on 1 time. 1 time. Seizure reduction. The number of seizures are probably between 60 and 70%.
Down.
Down. The severity of the seizures are down. The recovery period after having such a long seizure and then he's so wiped out is down. Like it takes him less time to recover.
And what they did is
what Davinsky's research showed is game-changing. CBD worked, just as parents of children with epilepsy have believed.
And the study showed that cannabidiol significantly exceeded placebo in its ability to reduce convulsive seizures. So that is really a milestone in cannabis medicine. So it's the first time that we got solid scientific data that a cannabis-based product, cannabidiol, works to treat a form of epilepsy.
How big a breakthrough was this news about cannabidiol?
For any of these epilepsies that are really treatment resistant, any new therapy that really moves the needle in some direction, for which some group of children have a dramatic response and many of the children have a modest response, is a huge improvement. We know that anything we do to reduce seizures helps improve lifespan and prevent death.
Is he more present?
Yes, much more cognitive. He understands more. He looks at people when they talk. It kind of was like he was in a fog before. Just taking away the seizures, you can see the light bulbs going off and the brain starting to connect.
Did you have a good day at work?
Are you off?
But a lifetime of seizures
Where to,
and the
buddy?
resulting brain damage means Tommy will likely never speak. Still,
Do you feel like CBD gave you your son back?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we could have started it earlier, it might have been a lot different. We started it when we could start it, and for the last 2 years, it's really been wonderful. Gonna make Harry cry.